Well, welcome everyone to day 3 of 4 powerful days with 4 incredible business mentors. And today's guest speaker is actually Janice Chrysler here from Marmara. And Janice is a spiritual coach, mentor, I would like to actually say. And she's also an author of 2 books. And she is here joining us today to talk to us about her current book that she has written called Sally's Closet and how it ties in with the business world, etc. So Janice, if you would like to take it away, and we're all looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Okay. I'm also open for comments and questions and things like that too. Not that I have all the answers, but that's how we discover who we are and where we're going, is by asking those questions. I'm just going to start with a little background on my book part. Prior to Sally's Closet, I wrote a book called Make It Happen, and that was discussing how we need to discover what our joy is, what motivates us, what fears could be holding us back, and then using that knowledge to, using that knowledge then to manifest what it is we desire in our life. So whether it's just in your personal life, where you're trying to maybe spiritually grow or overcome some hurdles from your past, or in a business where you need to find out what it is that your passion is and to put that into your business. I really believe that with that, we really need a mission statement in any business. And for anyone who has a business, if you haven't sat down and done your mission statement, I encourage you to do that, because you really, if you don't know why you're in business and why you're serving the public, how are they going to know? And I think it helps us to define to ourselves the direction we want to take our business in. I've changed my mission statement a couple of times to make it clearer to people as to what they are hoping to achieve from this. And also, I've mentioned before, is that your definition of success. What does success mean to you? Here in North America, at least, when we talk about success, we usually put a financial number onto it. We look at someone and we think, well, they must be very successful because they have the big house, they have the big car, their business is growing really well. But if you ask that entrepreneur, maybe they are very happy with what's happening, but I can guarantee you that there's other things that are making them feel successful other than just a good bank account. If you're living your mission statement, then you're living your purpose, you're following your path, and those things, I believe, is what really makes us feel successful. I've taken the word failure out of my vocabulary because there is no such thing as a failure. There is no such thing as a bad experience. There are some that are a lot nicer than others, but I feel every one of them is a learning experience. What is it we can learn from this? So I can look back now on things from when I was even a kid or a young adult or at the beginning of my business career, so to speak. And I can look at things that at the time I thought were maybe failures or bad experiences. And I actually give thanks for those because of the lessons that I learned from them. And I think we're all familiar with, there's so many people that if we want to say they are successful in business, that have had what we would call failures. They've gone through bankruptcies. They've gone through all these sorts of things that they've had to learn new ways to reestablish themselves. I think right now with COVID, the positive thing from that, there's nothing positive about being ill, but the positive thing for businesses is that we have to reinvent ourselves in a lot of cases. How can I work through this and come out at the other end in spite of it, instead of folding because of it? In my own personal experience, I was already going into this year with the thought of doing more online things, promoting my book, doing online workshops, as opposed to being in person. So when then COVID hit, it helped me to make up my mind that I don't need my office anymore. I'm going to let it go. And rather than going that upstream battle of somehow got to make this work, doing it the old way, instead changing the mindset and how can I adapt to what people need and during these times. And I think that I see that with the local businesses, the smaller businesses, that it's a struggle anyway to stay in business, but those that have been willing to adapt are doing well. And some of them are actually doing better now than they were before. And I think it's because that they've opened their mind up to new ways to serve the public. and it's working for them. So change is always good, really. If we don't change, we're living in the past. And when people say the good old days, they weren't really always that great. And we need to learn from them and move forward. And that's what we're in right now, I think, kind of on a philosophical level. I think humankind is at a point of evolution. We're moving forward, whether we like it or not. We're changing, just as we have always done. We've always changed. And sometimes it's a little more gradual, but this one is pushing everybody forward. Maybe at a pace they don't like. There are those that don't like to change everything. They don't even like to change the way they do anything. But as I said, I feel for business, the more that you're open-minded and willing to learn from what's working and what's not, that will help us. So kind of get back to like what's stored in our mindset is, I like to compare the subconscious mind to a closet. So that's where the name Sally's Closet comes in. So in this little book I've just put out, it could just as well be Sam's closet as Sally, but being a woman, I figured I better write from the perspective of that. Someone asked me, is this based on like my life? And I said, well, it is. It's my experiences and experiences of every one of you here. It's experiences that have been shared with me through friends and clients. And I realized that our subconscious mind really does store everything. It's much like our computer, that it has those programs that are running in the background. We don't know what they are, but when they mess up, our computer shuts down. Our subconscious mind is like that. It stores everything that has ever happened to us, has ever been said to us, and our reactions to those words and actions. And so that when a similar thing happens, a trigger goes off and we act the same way, we feel the same way. And if we don't take time to ask ourselves, where are these thoughts and reactions coming from, they just continue to go on. And in our personal lives and in our business lives, they can be what are stopping us from moving forward. If we have a fear of failure, for example, that's there, perhaps we had something happen as a child where we were laughed at by other people when we didn't succeed at something, and so we decided we were never going to try that again. So every time we went to go to try something new in our life, we maybe hesitated or didn't do it at all because that fear was stopping us. In our business sense, if we allow that sort of fear to step forward, in times like this when we're forced, or not really forced, but we have the choice to change or stay the same, we might choose to just not do anything as opposed to trying to do something different because we're afraid we're going to fail. So and if we don't look in our mind, take time to ask ourselves where these thoughts are coming from, then we're going to repeat the same patterns without even realizing that we're doing it. So in my book, Sally's Closet, I based it on actually an article I wrote for an online magazine quite a few years ago. And then I was asked to go and was a speaker actually in Bancroft at the Grail Springs. And I thought, well, I'm going to take that article and read it and then open up for discussion afterwards. And for any of you that ever spoke anywhere, when the room gets really quiet, you have kind of two things go through your head. It's, are they listening to me or not paying any attention, or are they really, really paying attention? So, just for that moment, you have that, oh my God, I've lost them all. They're all asleep or something, and you're almost afraid to look up and see what's going on. So, but that's what happened when I was reading this short 500-word page article, and it got really quiet in the room. And I did a quick look around the room, and I thought, no, they're really listening to me. And by the time I was done, there was people there crying, like not sobbing, but they were crying. And I thought, oh, that was a simple article, but it's really hit home. I guess I need to expand on that more. And so that's through our discussions and things there, I started to put in motion an idea to expand it from an article into a book. So at the beginning of every chapter, I start out with this story of Sally, who starts out being about 4 years old. And I say how much she likes to be in her bedroom, playing with her toys, using her imagination. And because she was happy and never thought of being anything but that. She didn't know she couldn't imagine being an astronaut or doing all these things. And as she started to grow, she thought, I'm learning a lot of things and I'm afraid I'm going to forget something. So she devises an idea where she puts all her memories in boxes and decorates them nice and pretty and puts them in her closet. So every time she opens a closet, she can see all her memories. So then I go on, I write a little bit underneath it, then I explain what that is. So in this case, Sally's closet is our mind closet. It's our subconscious mind, where we do keep all our memories. And for Sally, it started out all good memories that she put in there. And then she went to school and then realized that everybody didn't live in as nice a home as she did. Kids could be cruel and say mean things, that she herself did things she wasn't too happy about, but she still held on to all those too. And it goes on where she grows up, different experiences she has, until one day she decides, I'm not going to open that door anymore. I'm not going to look in there, because when I look in there now, I see all the bad things. So she said, I'll just tuck it away, I'll forget about it, and like it never happened. So there comes the secrets. But then she realizes she's starting to be sad, because by doing that, she's not feeling anything anymore. Until one day something happens, and I'm not going to tell you what. but that's like our mind closet. We tuck things away, and we sometimes have this habit of, if I don't think about it, it won't bother me anymore. But it never really goes away, because our mind's a funny thing. We have to think about something in order to not think about it. So like right now, if I just said to all of you, just close your eyes, and whatever you do, do not think of a purple elephant. Don't think of a purple elephant. Now open your eyes. Now I can guarantee that you all thought of a purple elephant first, so that you'd know what not to think about. And that's how our mind works. If we try to tuck away things that have hurt us, either physically, emotionally, we store also ideas and truths that were given to us when we were growing up. And that's all well and good. And all of us as parents know that we try to give the best to our kids. But at some point, we need to look and think, are those ideas mine? Where did they come from? Why do I think that way? And especially if it's stopping us from moving forward. And that's where fears come into play. And we do have the ability to release them and to replace them with more positive attitudes. I've found a lot of times that when I'm working with people, especially using hypnosis, if I take them back to when they were, to where a certain blockage they're having now, where did that first start? Most times they're very surprised at a situation that comes up from their memories. It can be as a very young child or a young adult, and that wouldn't have been where they thought the problem started. And the problems is that when we have something that happened to us as a child, we're looking at it as a child. So our observation of the situation, of the experience, may be completely different than how we would look at it now as an adult. We maybe carried guilt or blame for something that happened to us as we were little, and yet when we now look back on it, we think, well, I wasn't at fault for that. I was only 10 years old. How did I know any better? And so then we can work through that, change the scenario. You never forget it, but you can change the scenario so that now when a similar experience happens and that trigger comes up, you'll recognize it and you can change how you act or react to the situation. So in our businesses, that's important too, so that we have a clear mindset on our goals that we have, where we want to head with not only our job, but our life as a whole, because they are intertwined. It's when you're owning your own business, it's a representation of who you are and what you want to do with your life and to do for the community. It's different when you're going into someone else's place of work, the 9-to-5 job, as I call it. You still carry who you are and what you want to represent, your own personal mission statement in there, but you don't carry the same responsibility of following your path and purpose as you do when you own the business. So it's very clear that we understand our own mindset, where we're coming from, where we're going, and what can be in our way. Trying to keep things as secrets is also something that holds us back. A lot of times we don't need to feel the guilt that we do. We're again, the fear of what people think sometimes makes us feel like we have to hold things back. But really, when you think about it, if you're honest with yourself and you're honest with those around you, you don't have the need for secrets. If someone says to you, especially any of you, most of you here, I think, are from small communities, and it's great. It has a huge benefit because you do kind of know everybody and you feel comfortable, but also everybody knows you and you know everybody. How often do you see somebody and think, well, I remember them from high school? And then I have to stop and remind myself, I'm 63 now. That was a long time ago. I've changed, and so's that person. So we have to understand that, again, we can't control what other people think or do, only how we act or react to that and how we act. So it's letting go of those things. So if someone come up to you, I remember you at that school party, you were such an ass. And if that's something you've been trying to keep a secret for years, and here it's out. But if you were just to say, yeah, I was, and I was 16. But haven't we learned a lot from that since then? Instead of trying to keep that a secret, And I think of my great aunt. She was a nice enough lady. She lived on her own. She lived to be 101. But she had some secrets that she didn't want her friends to know. Well, most of her friends, God bless them, had all passed on way before her. But she wouldn't let us give her a 100th birthday party because she was afraid somebody would mention something that had happened like 70 years before. And she didn't want people to know that about her. But yet when she passed away, people came up and said, we already knew that. So she had lived her whole life trying to keep secrets. And how much of that stopped her from living her pure potentiality in her life to what she could have been, because she was living in that fear. So just a little bit in my preface, I think kind of sums that talk up, is when we share our stories instead of keeping secrets, we not only heal ourselves, but we hold out a hand for someone else to heal as well. When we face our fears instead of pretending they do not exist, we take away the fear's power of keeping us in sadness. When we realize that we have the choice about what thoughts we keep and what ones we let go, we create our own reality. When we choose to live in love, we are then able to let go of the secrets and the sadness and open ourselves to begin the journey of self-discovery. And it all starts with us, this journey. No one else can do it for us. We can come to classes, we can see people individually to help us on that path, but ultimately it's our mindset. So whether it's in your personal life or in your business, which to me are the same, to me, my business mindful journey is a reflection of who I am. And I'm the first to admit I'm evolving, I'm changing, and I'm different now than when I first started this. And I hope that I'm different a year from now, even a week from now, that something will happen to make me see things in a clearer way and new way of doing things. It's nice to see that some businesses as well are encouraging their staff to be more mindful, that they are bringing in coaches and things to talk about a balance of mind, body, spirit, or at least of mind, body. They might leave the spirit part out of it, but it all comes in there. To get them to understand that how a workplace is, you end up taking that home, whether you're the employer or you have employees. If you have turmoil going on in the workplace, that's going to upset your employees. They're going to take that home with them. That's going to upset the family unit. Vice versa. If there's things going on in your home, you take that into the workplace. It's only natural that it's going to spread there as well. So I do think slowly but surely some businesses are seeing that we need to create a positive environment for our employees to work in as well. That it should be a place they enjoy coming to and a place that they can fulfill our mission statement to our staff. And if they're not able to fulfill that mission statement, then perhaps they're not a good mix or a good match for our business. And I think within a business as well, you can have different departments different jobs, and you can have the same staff, but if you mix them up, they may be not doing well where they are. It doesn't mean they're a bad employee, but maybe you've got them doing the wrong job. Maybe their passion, their abilities are better related to something else. I know for example, let's use an office scenario where you have staff that are to deal with the public. And then there are staff that just perhaps do data entry on the computer. If you had someone who likes to deal with the public and needs that change in decision making and things, and you put them just entering the same data for 8 hours a day on a computer, they're going to get frustrated, they're going to get bored, they will feel like they probably will get where they don't really like to come into work because they feel like they're wasting their day doing that. Where if you had those same person out working with the public, where they can talk, where they maybe have different decisions they have to make, as opposed to doing the very same thing over and over again, they could very well flourish in that position, and vice versa. You don't want someone who doesn't like people, excuse me, so who doesn't like people being out there dealing with your public. You need to have that person in on the computer, and they may be very good at it. It's the same as an entrepreneur. If you have a lot of talents that you do, a lot of different things in your work you like to do, I think one of the biggest mistakes we all make is to think that we have to do everything ourselves. I think letting go of some of the reins for other people, such as Sherry, to do her thing to help with your business, so that frees you up to do where your abilities lie. It doesn't mean you don't know how to do the other stuff, but how many hours, any time you're spent doing that, or same with bookkeeping, if maybe you can do it, but how long does that take you to do that, as opposed to maybe going out and getting new clients and bringing them in? So that sort of thing. So it's figuring out where you feel your passion and to allow yourself to flow in that direction. If you find that you do have a blockage somewhere, it's letting go of ego as well, to seek help, to hire a consultant, to even if it's a one-time thing, go to some workshops, do things like this where you can interact with other people and find out, maybe there's someone that, I'd really like to help you with that, and this is how we can do this, and allow yourself to grow. It's we don't need to do it all ourselves. Even though we are sole entrepreneurs, it doesn't mean that you have to carry the weight all yourself. Put your passion into what you feel you're the best at, and do that. I have a friend she said that she's very creative and really likes creating the items that she does. But as far as doing say Facebook, social media, stuff like that, knows she has to do it, but absolutely hates doing it. So maybe she'll grow to a point where she feels that she can have someone else do all that for her, where she can do what she loves to do the best, and is to make the product, and have someone else be your salesperson, for example. So there's ways we can do this. And I think, again, it's letting go of that fear of failure. We're afraid that if we hire someone, that's going to take money away, and maybe that won't be successful. But we need to look at is, what if I do that and it actually helps me to blossom and to grow? Then what? How great is that? Stop looking at all the negative, be positive with it. To visualize in your mind's eye where it is you want your business to be. Again, that comes back to kind of our mission statement. What is it you hope to fulfill from doing this business in the first place? So then allowing yourself to be open-minded enough to find ways to do that. And some ideas are better than others. I've tried a few that thought, that wasn't really what I should have done. And I've even tried them a few times, and then I realized, okay, I'm having a pattern here. I already know this isn't working. Why am I doing it again? So it's to be okay with your changing. And listening to your clients as well. What are their needs? Not you trying to tell them you need to have me. I know you do. Nobody likes to really hear that. But if you're listening to them and see where you can help them and guide them. I also have come to understand that, and perhaps it's more common in the holistic field, is that I don't get upset if someone goes to another hypnotist or Reiki master or spiritual coach. It's because they're drawn to that person and it's probably better. I've actually sent people to other people because I feel there may be a better match, or maybe I'm not in a position where I feel I could adequately serve them. And I think you're doing your clients a better service. I've gone into retail stores when the people there have said to me, you know what, we have XYZ, but if you go to so-and-so, I think they can actually service you better. Now, maybe they haven't got your sale that day, but I remember that, and I'll go back to them for something else because they were honest enough with me and helpful that I was able to then go to another client. And I think in businesses, we need to do that more. Instead of being so competitive, we need to back each other up and promote each other. It's there's enough there for everybody. We just need to, instead of putting people down, to promote those people that are doing well and have services and products that we feel can be helpful. Not just say, oh, I don't do that, so therefore end it there. And it comes back to you. Like I said, I know for myself, I would remember that person telling me or advising me where to go, as opposing to just not helping me at all, or providing me a service or product that I knew wasn't beneficial for them and they didn't get the full experience from it. So I really feel that we can help one another a lot more that way. I'm just going to kind of stop there. I've been rambling on long enough. Does anyone have any input or any questions or anything?
Well, Janice, do you have any workshops coming up in related to the workplace and balancing, or how about in around Sally's Closet or Make It Happen? Like, do you have anything that's coming up that could be useful or beneficial to all of us? Sorry, I used the wrong word there. Useful, I meant beneficial.
Well, I'm in the middle of a Make It Happen workshop, but I did offer people that couldn't make it last Thursday evening. It's a two-part one. That if you register, I will send you the link so that you can watch last week's Zoom workshop and send you the same material. And then this Thursday, which is tomorrow, at 6:30 will be the second part of that. So it's all based on my book, Make It Happen. And again, we go through all of those things about finding joy, what motivates you, what fears. We talk about the different fears, what they are, talk about again how the mind works, and how we can use through meditation and positive affirmations to manifest what we desire in our life. Everything begins with a thought, but we have to think it first. And the chair you're sitting on, somebody got sick of sitting on the floor, and they probably took them quite a few tries to get it right. And but here we are. Look at the variety. Sally's Closet, I will be offering some workshops. I haven't got dates right yet, but I know there will be a virtual book launch, I believe, November 13th. And there'll be more details of that coming soon on my website, mindfuljourney.ca. I do offer personal coaching sessions via Zoom right now. And yeah, so if you check out my website and sign up for my newsletter, my goal is to have more online courses and also to have them available for replay because not everybody can make the dates and times that we have. And the books themselves are available on Amazon.ca as well as an ebook edition.
Perfect. Brian, you look a little eager, like you want to jump right in and ask a question.
Anna.
Well, Janice, I really appreciate your talk. I'm actually, when this is over, I was wondering if maybe we could have a quick chat.
Sure.
Everything you've said, I think is awesome. I talk about a lot with my clients. I just have one of the things that I always say to my clients is that, look, I'm not a psychologist. I got some insights in this area. I said, but we're talking about a legal thing. I say, okay, here's some thoughts on it, but you need to really talk to a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I like to be able to meet up with various people that my clients, or even people that aren't my clients, can benefit from, and just listening to you I think you're one of those people. So I'd like to talk to you a bit about that, and maybe I can refer you some business. I just wrote down some notes that really kind of affirming what you're saying. At the beginning, you were talking about, you know, the games we play in our head, and again, this is not my field. I just remember that when I read stuff that I'm interested in, and somewhere around 90% of the obstacles that we imagine, or to a problem, are inside our own head. Only 10% are external. You talked about success being money. Money is actually, I mean, it's a means to an end. You know, when we were kids and we watch have the Richie Rich comic books or whatever, you know, people don't have bags of money laying around. It's paper. It's zeros in an account. It's representative. If I put a briefcase with $1 million on the table, it's not the paper that's the issue. It's what it represents. Well, some people it represents an asset that they want to buy. Other people it represents freedom. I had a colleague, client told him, he said, if you can help me figure out a way that I can go to my daughter's piano recitals, I'll pay you anything you want. He had a time issue. And so that was success for him. Somebody once said that there's no success in business that can compensate for failure in the home. So we have to understand what that is. You made a comment about bringing baggage to work. And the one thing that's going through, and again, I don't disagree with anything you said. I think it was all awesome. One thing I would add to that is that also be mindful of our employees. They bring their stuff to work too. Not that we're looking to excuse bad behavior, but it's sometimes helpful to understand where somebody is coming from. In his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, I think the 5th habit said, first seek to understand, then be understood. And that works well in the sales environment. It also works well in dealing with your employees, and it works well with your personal life too. You were talking about keeping secrets. And one thing that I've noticed with myself and pretty much everybody I know is human beings tend to give grace a lot more readily than we want to receive it. So, you know, give somebody a helping hand. Oh, but I don't want to take charity. You know, that kind of a thing. So when you think, you know, like your great aunt that had her secrets, and her friends were like, yeah, we knew, it's no big deal. Yeah. But she thought it was a much bigger deal. Well, that's true of all of us. I mean, we want to, we don't want to receive that from somebody else because we don't want to feel that either our pride gets in the way because, you know, we don't want people thinking less of us. But the reality is most people, or the people that you really want to hang around with, tend to think we all got our stuff and we accept each other because of it, because of it and in spite of it. You talked about hiring, you know, bringing people on. One of the things I deal with is time management a lot, and one of the principles of time management is figure out what you're paying yourself. And so if you've got a business and whether you're paying yourself 50 grand, 100 grand, doesn't really matter. But say use a nice round number like $100,000 a year. Divide by 2,000 hours is 50 grand. And the principle there is if you wouldn't pay somebody 50 bucks an hour, or I'm sorry, 2,000 hours is $50 an hour. That's what basically what you pay yourself. If you wouldn't pay somebody 50 bucks an hour to do that, you shouldn't be doing it. And so that's one way to kind of help our between our ears trying to justify, you know, how to delegate, because a lot of people struggle with that. And the last comment I had is when I'm not exactly sure what you said, but it tweaked me to write it down. A comment that I really like is listening is so close to loving that when you do it, most people can't tell the difference. And so, you know, we need to listen to people. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and we should probably use it at least that proportion. So I appreciate listening to you, and I'm not trying to, you know, hijack your talk. I'm just trying to affirm what you said. I think it was awesome. And these are just some thoughts that jumped out at me as you were talking.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't think you're hijacking it. I really like to have the feedback. And yeah, it's great that you have all those feedbacks, because it's reaffirming as well. And I'm not a psychologist either. And quite honestly, that's why usually people come to me, is because I'm not a psychologist. You know, it's everything is not, I don't believe everything is black and white. There's a lot of gray areas in all of us. And yeah, keeping those secrets is one of the things that robs us of so much joy, and hanging on to past as well. If we hang on to the past, we're allowing those experiences to control what we're doing now, and it manipulates what our future will be. And if we worry all the time about what might be and could be, and if they find out about this, then it's, again, robbing us of joy of today into something that's yet to happen. And I truly believe we manifest and create our own reality. So like you mentioned about the 90% there, it's actually, in hypnosis, we talk about the subconscious mind, where 95% of our thoughts are reruns. So there's only 5% space there to take on new data. So again, I guess our computers are like that too, right? If we see we're 95% full, we should start going in there and getting rid of stuff, or we're going to lose it all, or there's going to be a breakdown, there's going to be a crack. And I can tell you now, from everybody's experience, I don't care who you are, if this has happened, that if you've tried to hold things inside for years and think you forgot about them, one day it's going to have to get out, and it's going to manifest itself either emotionally, mentally, or physically. And so it's the body's way of saying, stop the madness. You've got to do something here. So that's what got me interested in how the mind works with the body. Is myself, I went through of just kind of physically crashing, and then I started looking at where I was emotionally during that time, or leading up to that time. It taught me how stress can affect you, how it can be from years before, and you're now in a place where you feel everything's okay, and the next thing you know, you're in the emergency ward having seizures for no reason, and thinking, geez, maybe I got a brain tumor or something, right? So, but that was a wake-up call for me to go, okay, that taught me that stress is something that just doesn't go away because you think, oh, everything's okay now. There was obviously still things hanging on in the background that needed to be dealt with. And until you do, there's always things that come up, either, like I said, physically, emotionally, mentally. And it was a good mention there, Brian, about you know, to be that compassionate with the people that work for us, that if they come in today and they're super grumpy and look pretty rough, don't be too hard on them right away. Like you said, you can't excuse bad behavior, but perhaps take them aside and find out if there's something going on at home. Maybe they've had a loss, maybe they've, you know, the husband or wife's just left them, you know, and you don't know what's going on, and you don't need to know all the details, but you do have to give them support and things with that as well to help them through it. So.
For sure. Well, it's been a great talk today. I know it's been an interesting topic, going from, it's kind of merged in a little bit with what Brian spoke about yesterday. And you guys do complement each other quite well, I think. And it's been a nice tie-in. And Janice, I have to honestly say, I got your book the other day in the mail, Sally's Closet, that I ordered. I finally got it, and I've actually had a chance. I've got about 50% of it read right now, and I don't think I'm going to get my head out of it until it's finished here.
Good.
So, yeah, if anybody was looking for a book to read or to give a gift to a loved one, I recommend that you go on Amazon and purchase Sally's Closet. It is worth the read. So,
well, thank you. And it's a short read, really. I make things very simple. I like things simple and to the point. And in the back of it, I do have exercises for you to work on as well. If you want to continue, think, okay, you know what, maybe I need to do some clearing out of my own mind closet. So let's try these exercises and see how they work for me. And I encourage you to do that.
I will. So does anybody else have any questions? John, you're a little bit late coming in. However, we have been recording today's show, and everyone, the recordings will all be put on my website on the business growth page, and there's a vault button there called the vault, and you'll be able to go in there and see all the recordings. Okay, and they'll be available by Friday morning for everyone. Okay.
I just want to say, Sherry, I really appreciate you holding these talks. It's not only nice to be part of it, but it's nice to be able to watch them. I can't always join whenever the other speakers are on, but I look forward to watching the recordings.
Well, great. That's wonderful to hear. And I do enjoy putting these little events on. It's good for me. It's good for the community. It's always good to promote our local business owners as well. So it's a good way for everyone all the way around. So now tomorrow, everyone, we have Joel Mannebaum coming on from Toronto. He's a digital marketing specialist, and he is going to introduce a whole new way of receiving testimonials and getting them onto your web page, your website, rather than going through Google. And it's quite the program that he has. And he's got lots of free giveaways happening as well. And you don't want to miss Joel. He's going to be here. He's going to give you lots of information to help you along as a business owner and help you to grow your digital side of your marketing. So anyhow, I would like to say thank you to Janice for joining us. And it's always a pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for being here today as well. Is there any other questions for Janice before we head out, or?
Visit my website, mindfuljourney.ca. I'm located in Marmora, but now I'm located worldwide via the web.
I think every business owner can say that statement now. It is such a true statement.
They should.
Yes. Perfect. Well, if there's been no other questions, I would like to say have a fabulous day, everyone. I know it's raining, but it's still, we can always still enjoy a fabulous day somehow. So, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
I'll stay and talk to Brian.
Okay, that sounds good.
Bye now.
Hey, Sherry. I'm not sure if Sherry, since you're the originator of this, if you leave us, does that mean that we get
No,
turned
you
off?
guys go ahead. I can keep it up. I got to go do a couple other things, so not a problem.
Okay.
Go ahead and have your conversation. Okay?
I just wait for everyone to leave there.
There you go. So Brian, just to let you know, Brian, this is Janice Brian. Brian was our guest speaker yesterday, Janice. Okay. And so I'll let Brian introduce himself to you. And Brian, you work for Janice. I look after all her social media.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure. I won't be able to be there tomorrow. I've got a client at that time, but really appreciated being included, and as well as I really enjoyed this morning as well.
Perfect. I'm just gonna